And there's a lot of strong black men in the space, but you will not fold.
No.
And bruh, trust me, us other black men, we say, if they let Umar on CNN, if they let him on MA, he's not folding.
Oh, no, sir.
So don't send the invite.
And that's why they ain't going to send me. You'll never see me on there. Now, I just got an invitation to be on Piers Morgan.
We about to talk about him in just a second.
You know, and I didn't accept it because I noticed with some of them, even though he's really popular and he got millions, don't bring me on there for no nonsense. Yes. And what I noticed, and I went through this a little bit with Fox Soul. No disrespect to Fox Soul because they just reached back out to me. I'm going to give them another chance. But you don't take somebody with these kind of credentials and this type of following and this seriousness behind his work and put him on a panel with goofballs.
At all.
And you see?
At all.
That's what Piers Morgan, I got an invite for a white podcast. I'm not going to mention his name. He's very popular. He wanted me to debate Jesse Lee Peterson, right? Now, me and Jesse Lee Peterson, are you familiar with him?
Yeah, I know Jesse.
We've debated before. I was on his show before. He was on Fox Soul before.
Okay.
He and I have shared airways maybe 3 times, right?
Okay.
I turned down the interview, right? Because I said, I am not going to go on this show. And this was live in studio. And I think he's in Florida too. I am not going to go on this show and debate another black man, even though he is a coon, for the entertainment of white people.
Right.
See, when he first reached out, Loon, I'm thinking we're going to have a conversation like us. We're going to go around the world and talk. No, I want you to debate Jesse Lee Peterson. You already know what he stands for.
Right.
You already know what I stand for. So this cannot be serious.
Yeah.
You want us to fight each other for the entertainment of Caucasians. I'm not doing that.
And I appreciate you for saying that. Matter of fact, let's get to Piers. So Piers Morgan has been in the news or in black culture going viral right now, in particular for he was on a panel. Let me get the names right. I think it was, I want to make sure I have the young lady's names. I mean, I don't have the names. Nonetheless, it was Piers Morgan, Marc Lamont Hill, Myron Gaines from Fresh.
Somebody sent me a clip.
Right. And so what we had is Piers Morgan was in a scenario where he asked for this young lady, he invited her to say a racial slur.
People stand up for themselves. We're labeled racist. And by the way, you call people racist when you want them to stop talking about things.
No, I called you a racist because you admitted you were Hang on. I called just to be clear. I called you a racist because you openly, proudly admitted you're a racist. So it wasn't a question of exposing you or pointing my finger or trying to get this out of you. You proudly sat there, bold as brass, and said, "Yeah, I use the N-word all the time against black people. I'm a racist and I'm proud of it." That's what you did.
Racism is just having a preference. I prefer not to live around black people. I prefer not to live in a country where white people in our country are disproportionately attacked by black people. Where in my country, you can have an Austin Metcalf where he asks a guy to leave and he gets stabbed in the heart. I prefer that. That's a preference. Now, what a real racist is, in my opinion, is seeing someone as less human. I'm a Christian. I believe everyone's created in God's image. So I don't see anyone as less human. But that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have a preference and say, I don't like what happens to be coming out of this community or that community. How is that a bad thing? How is that not just a preference?
Because you've literally made black people sound lesser humans. You don't want to live around them. You want to use the N-word in relation to them, a word that you know causes that community unbelievable offense.
My fault? Is that my fault? If they have bad behavior, if they want to act in a certain way, if I have to cross the street and be afraid that maybe because of the crime statistics that are very real, by the way, is that my fault or is that their fault for having bad behavior?
That's mind-boggling to me for multiple reasons. I mean, we're talking about bad behavior. You know, we've never lynched you, we've never enslaved you, we've never done any of the deep-seated structural forms of injustice to white people that white people have done to black people, and yet to claim some kind of moral superiority in the midst of, and again, in the context of a conversation where a white woman is calling a 5-year-old autistic child the N-word, and we're talking about black people's bad behavior. This is absurd. And the idea of fighting fire with fire, again, is a dishonest argument. Just to take us back to the point here, The people who are supporting Carmelo Anthony's campaign believe that he was wrongfully charged and they're trying to get him legal defense. The people who are defending this woman are saying, yes, we know you called the 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word, and we want more of it. We approve of it. We support it. These are not the same thing. And it's bonkers to me that we couldn't all stand and say, hey, it is wrong to call a 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word.
The racial slur was in front of Marc Lamont Hill and another guy who's a black man. The other guy who's a black man had a gun, and he would press the trigger and it'll put out a flag and say nigger on it.
During the interview? I didn't see that part. Okay.
Yeah, because they would blur out on certain platforms. They wouldn't let it be
I only
seen.
saw a clip, but I'm
right. And so I wanted to ask you, what is your reaction to that clip of that situation?
That is the exact type of situation that I don't want to be a part of. I don't mind the racism, but let it be someone of an established intellectual background.
Right.
But for you to just grab idiots and buffoons off social media because they have an opinion and ask me to converse with them, I feel like you're belittling my work.
Yes.
And you're belittling my
And that's what it was. The young lady was just a social media girl who says, I like to say nigger. And
no expertise in anything, no community activism, no type of corporation that she's established, you know, no type of political resume, just a nobody. My thing is, at least let it be someone who people listen to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And listen to for serious opinion,
right,
not just shock value.
And that's what they'll do. They'll try to mix our greats with they bullshit and trash.
Yes, I'm not doing that. And when he reached out to me, Brother Loon, if memory serves me correctly, it was a week or two before that interview. So I believe he wanted me as a part of that, because in the email that I got from his assistant, it specifically said that they wanted to discuss the fundraising behind our brother down in Texas, right? The young brother who defended his life, okay, and is now facing charges, and hopefully he will be victorious. We're going to pray.
Carmelo, right?
Carmelo Anthony. They wanted to discuss the fundraising between Carmelo Anthony and the Shiloh Hendricks, I believe is her name.
Yes.
And I'm looking at this request, and I'm saying, of all the things we can discuss, we want to talk about GoFundMe? I already knew it was nonsense.
Right.
This is all you want to discuss with
Right.
Dr. Umar.
Yeah.
This fundraiser and this fundraiser.
Right.
I said, this is nonsense. I believe he wanted me on that platform.
Did you see Marc Lamont Hill's response to it, where
I thought he did a good job.
Okay. Now,
I thought he did a good job.
He's receiving some backlash because he, this is what I say, this difference between.
What did he say? And then because I didn't see the whole thing.
This is what he said. So he says, Piers Morgan invites the young lady to say the N-word. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
Did she say it?
No, Marc Lamont jumps in.
Okay.
I do not want you to tell her to say the N-word in front of me, because I'm the only one up here that's going to be offended. Da-da-da-da. He was on the right track. Then he uttered, Piers, I know you don't mean any harm. And then that's when a lot of people were taken back, because why would you give him any out in that moment? He clearly is inviting this discourse. Why is he, as the white man who's facilitating the conversation, and also, even if he was there quiet, I would say he holds some responsibility,
because he engineered the conversation.
Exactly. But the fact that he was the one to say, go ahead, say it, and then for you to let him off the hook. Yeah, for you to let him off the hook. Now, Marc Lamont Hill responds to this and says, I only done that because I didn't want them to cut out the part where I where I told him, do not allow her to say that. So it's like a strategic bag down. I don't respect those. Right?
Okay.
Like in that setting. Now, if we're talking war and, you know, other settings, great. But he received some backlash for basically letting Piers Morgan off the hook in that moment. To that, what do you say?
Okay. I don't want to speak on that directly because I didn't see it. I'm going to give Dr. Marc Lamont Hill the benefit of the doubt. Okay.
Do you want to see it? Because we can show you the clip.
I don't mind. I can take a look at it.
Let's take a look at it.
You know, it could have just been human error. I'm hoping, you know, if that's the only thing that took place, it could have just been human error. I'm hoping it wasn't as egregious as what I saw the other day when President Donald Trump had a meet and greet interview with the president of South Africa. I don't know if you caught that, but I was very disappointed in the way that President Ramaphosa of South Africa conducted himself with President Trump. I really feel that he allowed President Trump to drive the conversation.
I did see him meet. I didn't get the chance to watch.
You got to watch it. I felt like he completely disrespected the South African people, who I love. I'm very close with the South African family. And I felt the president of South Africa did not assert the dignity of his people by defending why so many South Africans are considering appropriating land from these Caucasians, because y'all invaded our country centuries ago, stole that land, enslaved us on our own territory, and now you have the audacity, President Trump, to call me a criminal to take back what was stolen from me by white criminals. And I really felt the president of South Africa let Donald Trump push an untrue narrative in his face. In his face.